It's 30 degrees, it's in a giant tin shed, and I can't think of anywhere better to be than the International Engage Show 2023. First up is a layout I think I need to get a restraining order for, because this one follows me everywhere. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's Dentdale, an absolutely wonderful depiction of the Cecil and Carlisle Railway. The layout starts from the Cole Road Bridge to Bleemore Tunnel and depicts Dent Station and Arton Gill and Dent Head Viaducts. It also includes St Leonard's Church at Chapel le Dale, which has been moved a bit closer to the railway. On this session, the stock being run is from the mid-50s to 1965. Next is Oberdorf 2. It's an imaginary location on the Franco-Germany border. French motive power can visit Oberdorf in Germany. The stock has been created by marrying N-scale bodies with Z-gauge chassis. The track gauge is 6.5mm, and the period model is any time from the 1930s to the 1950s. We move to Bear Creek, which is inspired by a holiday to British Columbia in 2002 and a magazine article by Chris Lee in 2007. The owner has attempted to capture the essence of Western Canada with trees, rugged scenery and grain trains. There are also bears roaming the layout, so take care. Here a 260 steam locomotive to parts with a caboose in tow, before clearing the single line, allowing a Canadian Pacific locomotive with a freight to pass in the other direction. There are bears all over this layout, and if you look closely, you might see a couple riding on one of the flatbeds on this freight parked in the loop. We end our visit by watching the switcher move some logs out of the sawmill. Next is Silverton. Silverton is a fictitious place somewhere on the outskirts of the metropolitan capital. It has a twin-track main line with a secondary line going out to the suburbs. It also has a rail-served warehouse and factory complex. You will see all types of rolling stock, as it was built to run anything. Here we see a standard 4 tank engine thunder into the station and have an abrupt stop. In fairness, many of the layouts suffered from the heat today, and you will see the odd sort of jittery and bumpy ride as the operators try to get their locos to move. And I think we can all accept that. Next, to play on words, Whartson Hall. Built to watch the trains go by, Whartson Hall is based on Water Orton in the West Midlands on the old Birmingham and Derby Junction Railway, with lines to Birmingham, Walsall to the west, and Derby and Nuneaton to the east. The layout can be operated by Gagemaster DC or NCB DCC. Now we arrive at Market End. It's a small DCC layout with 2 full working loops and a branch line that runs up to an upper level with a small market and shops. Here we can see the Class 31 with a small engineer's train make that exact journey. With lots of buildings on the layout that have interior details and lighting added, there's a lot of realism and a lot to look at. This one's a nice layout. No, I mean it's called a nice layout. The layout is 18 feet long and features a double track main line, a high level electrified branch, a mineral branch and a narrow gauge industrial line. The layout was built to run certain stock rather than a specified era. Here a USA S160 passes by with an engineer's train, as in the opposite direction a DMU makes its station call. And a short while later, the DMU moves on. Next is Neepsford Castle. It's a simple dual track loop with a fortified castle complex rising above a small river and town set in the present day. The castle has a working drawbridge, as you can see here. The layout is DCC operated with a Merg controller and will run a variety of steam and diesel locomotives. We move away from the castle and over the pond to America, and we visit Sugar Creek. We visited Sugar Creek before, and it's always a pleasure to see. Sugar Creek is an N-scale North American modern era DCC sound layout. It's roughly based on the triple track section of the Bridlington North and Santa Fe Railway Master Line sub at Sugar Creek, Missouri. A Union Pacific SD-70 leads an empty coal train as it comes to a stand on one of the tracks. As it comes to a stand, a BNSF intermodal train passes in the opposite direction. As the intermodal train passes by, another one in the hands of a Canadian Pacific ES44AC number 8743 leads another intermodal train. we move to Burdock. Burdock came out of a desire to build a layout set in South Gloucestershire on the Swindon to Gloucester line. It is not based on any specific location, but is an attempt to create something of the atmosphere of this rather picturesque area. The period is the summer of 1964. And now we are at Scarlington. Scarlington is set in the north-east of England with strong architectural influences from Darlington Station and the Tyne and Wear bridges. The period depicted is the late 1970s and 1980s, during the sectorisation years. Buildings on the layout are all scratch-built or kits heavily modified. A variety of freight and passenger trains are run. As we look out over the river, Duchess of Hamilton departs with a steam special. As the steam special moves towards the tunnel, the other side, a HST comes thundering out before making its station call. One of the wonderful things about this land is the working incline railway, which takes you from the river up to the town. A pair of Class 37s pass each other, as one on an M.P.D working passes another on a cement working. The large logo 37 has a signal and makes its move with the cement train. As the cement train disappears into the station, a pacer unit follows shortly behind. We're now at Hatch End, which is based on the real location on the West Coast Main Line north of London. Euston Station during the 1980s, with the 4 AC main lines of British Rail and the 2 London to Watford lines of the Underground, makes for plenty of action. Look out for the ATPP on a test run.
What tube I am representing here? Okay.
And now we go to 2 charming little layouts. This one, which is Bear Hunt, is in a pizza box, and the other is in a suitcase. I think it's pronounced Brocolitia, but I'm not certain on the pronunciation if I'm honest. It's an N-gauge layout, as I said, in a suitcase, with Roman ruins, working streetlights, canal, trees, and ducks. It has lots going on. Now it's time for a couple of motive power depots, the first being Peasenhall West, M.P.D. Peasenhall is a small, fixed locomotive fueling and maintenance facility set in the modern era. The layout measures just 4 foot by 10 inches. It's DC analog controlled and operated from the front. Here we see a Colas livery Class 56 making its way off the shed.
Easiest way to remember it is to keep them both in. Always keep one free up there, something will run in. So yeah, ideally if I had 4 rows instead of 2.
Our second depot layout is Little Haven. This depot layout is made up of 2 depot sheds, as well as a wagon repair shop and a fuel point. It has 2 stabling roads, and with this layout it has a 4-road fiddle yard to the east end of the layout. We move over to Germany and Singen, which is a fictional Epoch 5/6 rural setting in South Germany. Singen is a compact layout with operational catenary, featuring a mainline station, branch terminus and long running lines with plenty of train movements to watch. It was Railway of the Month in Continental Modeler in May 2021, and this is its first exhibition.
Despite the expense, thing with DC, the massive thing with DCC, if you're managing at DCC, it's that you've got full power on the track. So even though the train's running slowly, you feel voltage on it. Very more reliable.
Using some elevation and a few other clever tricks, the layout is actually a folded figure of 8, and there is extra mainline running for the trains. we move on to Northern England. This is Culthwaite. It's a minimum space layout, and Culthwaite attempts to represent the less frequently modelled northern part of the Settle and Carlisle line. In particular, Colgate with a bit of Armathwaite thrown in. The sequence is run to represent the trains of around 10 years ago, before the demise of coal traffic.
Yes, they would, wouldn't they? Yeah.
One of my exhibition videos wouldn't be the same without a little bit of footage from the boy. Here we can see a Northern 158 departing in one direction as a Class 56 in DCR livery runs through with a Network Rail ballast train.
I swear by a mix of Citadel, non-oil and Agrax Earthshade. I swear by those.
I'm not sure, are they acrylic or...
A short while later, and we see a Northern Railway Class 156 depart the station, whilst in the opposite direction, a Colas Class 60 runs through with a timber train. The signalman here must be kept very busy because shortly later a Class 66 with an empty coal train passes in the other direction. And just when the signalman thought he could put his feet up and enjoy a cup of tea, a Class 68 arrives with an engineering working. We make a brief stop at New Millfields, originally called Millfields, which has been rebuilt after 10 years stored in the back of the garage. This 4-track main line running is through the countryside with scale-length trains. All stock is weathered in detail, and the period is BR Rail Freight 1986 to 1995. Here we can see a Class 31 in the unique infrastructure livery passing by with a rake of wagons. If you like HSTs, then you're going to like Dorcross Bay, because Dorcross Bay is a fictional layout of inspiration taken from the famous sea wall between Dawlish Warren and Tamworth. A small tunnel breaks the bay up. Access to the beach is by a footbridge across the main lines. It's set in the privatisation period from 1997 onwards. The parade of HSTs continues as a GNER liveried one passes the beach. Next is Fag Packet Livery, First Great Western HST, passing by in the opposite direction. finally a Class 67 fundus by with a special working. And now we're at Lisworth Bay. The London and South Western Railway forged southwest during the 19th century, sprouting branches to coastal towns on its way. Lisworth Bay was one of these. The branch was rationalised shortly after nationalisation, and trains last ran in 1966. The track bed has recently become a cycle route. We move from one end of the country to the other, and now we're in Scotland with Craigillin. This is a fictitious location north of Perth. The station serves a small location which attracts cyclists and walkers. The old steamshed is still operational to stable locos for the timber and distilling industries. Passenger timetable includes local, semi-fast, sleeper and one direct service to London Euston daily.
That is a lie.
If you're wondering what the conversation between me and my boy is in the background, that's because he's telling me that he's actually only filmed one layout today. That is indeed a lie. In fact, this video is full of clips that have been taken by him. He's definitely improving. I wonder if you can spot which ones he did. Here a ScotRail livery Class 47 passes by with a passenger working, clearing the line and making room for another Class 47 which will pass in the opposite direction. Now it's on to Brookthrope, which is a Lincolnshire resort town whose rail link was retained after closure of the line to Grimsby to allow continued freights to the docks and summer passenger traffic, which runs with a variety of traction, mainly from Midland towns. Freight traffic has also increased via the yard and docks. The layout is based on two locations, the station being based on that of Skegness, and the yard being based on that of Boston Dockyard. The builder decided to combine to get the real Lincolnshire feel that you can see in this layout. The station is a hive of activity as the 03 pilot moves out of the way to allow a pair of Class 20s to run into the coaches it's just put in the siding.
Did you search on Turkey Body?
Next, a free car, Class 101 DMU, arrives at one of the platforms of the station.
So it's a Lincolnshire based area. The plan's actually on that.
Yeah.
The person who built it, he likes to see it a lot, so...
All varieties of traction can be seen here. A grey engineer's liveried Class 37 moves off a stabling road and shunts itself onto a rake of coaches awaiting in one of the platforms.
Are they linked together? That's not good, is it?
You've got to drive.
We'll be alright.
I don't want you killing of it.
Oh, don't you worry, we'll be alright.
I'm going to get to sell me all. Or to Memorial or wherever we're going.
I don't know.
And finally, the free car 101 makes a spirited getaway as it departs the station.
Free car.
Got to go road 3.
What DMU is that?
Just an ordinary 2-car DMU.
Still, they wanted the shops driving and everything. That's ridiculous.
Our final layout is Fordon Hill. Fordon Hill is a simple double loop, mainly modern image layout with 2 stations, a small fun fair, concert, a busy town, and a car that has argued with a tree. As ever, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, then please click the like button. If you haven't already, then please click the subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this or any of my other railway related material. Until next time, thanks for watching.